We're working on a project which is trying to work with living systems, with the possibility of making artificial things that start to regenerate themselves and actually start to move and breathe and even think. The quality of the noosphere, of the thinking sphere, is something that we will see in many layers throughout this sculpture. There's artificial intelligence of many small microprocessors which are arranged in meshworks, much like the neurology of our own brains, studied all the way through this sphere. Those have many microprocessors which are all speaking to each other, and together they pass signals back and forth and set up rippling and vibration and moving. Outside of the action that you can see is a whole other world of projected possibility, which the artificial intelligence system is also thinking about and projecting. And so what you will see is part of a much larger world moving back and forth that you are part of. Looking, surveying, tracking your gestures, it becomes possible also to teach the system. In fact, the system is curious. We can reward new information within the software. And what this means is that there's a constant evolution. If you came back a few days later or a couple of months later, the patterns and the responses would be different. And in fact, they will never repeat. In addition to the artificial intelligence, there's also chemistry, protocells, prototype cells, which you can see in many small glass vessels, which are studied all the way around this environment. And each one of those houses a little world full of chemicals that are making tiny little felts, very, very slightly growing, and making small models of living things that could be there in the future. We see here an aqueous solution, a water-based solution. Little tiny chemical veils growing at the bottom. Ferric cyanide and copper sulfate. The copper sulfate is blue and the ferric cyanide is amber, and then the salt that results pumping is just accumulating in this little walnut-shaped vesicle that's at the bottom. They're conditioned by the movement of air that passes around them, that's made by the vibration that's driven by the artificial intelligence. We could think of a kind of a stimulation and a tempering of each protocell environment by the passage of air and by the light which passes through it and which stimulates its growth. Rather than buildings being inert, we think that they can have literally metabolisms that constantly renew themselves. And so rather than making strong, clear, bounded, armored, even insulated things, if we think of individual bodies as being made of many small parts with great, great flexibility between them, and if we think that things can change and adapt, then those qualities can go into a tremendously resilient society, into a tremendously resilient vehicle. The composite of many things working together is at the heart of this work.